Hello, this is Sandy McManus with needsaribbon.com. Thank you for joining me for another edition of Coffee Break, where in 15 minutes or less, I will show you how to make a card or other project in the amount of time it takes to finish your coffee. Cheers! Let's get started. So today, this is our project, and it is using retired Stampin' Up! Products, but I just kind of more wanted to show you the layout and how to use Stampin' Blends. That was primarily why, and plus some of you might have some of these supplies, so dig them out. And like all my other coffee break videos, the recipe for this project will be at the very end of said video. Okay, let's get started. So today, the card uses New Wonders, which was a host stamp set for the 2019-2020 annual catalog. And it has this beautiful sketchy look to it, like a pencil sketch with this kind of elfin girl. And I just realized I didn't set a timer. Not good. I'm gonna goof up. Okay, we're good. This kind of elfin girl on it. So sorry for reaching across the screen. And some, well, the only thing that's retired of the paper is the DSP. So let's get going. So the first thing, I've done a lot of cards in the past when they orient this way with this kind of fun fold. I thought this one kind of fit this way. You peek up, and you have your leaves and your message. So let's get started by doing a little assembly. I have my paper pre-scored and pre-cut like I do for all my coffee breaks. And again, the measurements will be at the end. So we have that. And let's pull out, these are the pieces we're going to stamp on. Yes, that is correct. I'm going to go ahead and glue these on right away, or adhere them. And I have a little piece of silicone paper that I brought with me today so I don't muck up my new background. Hope you like that wood grain look. And let's see, it has two ways. I like the leafy stuff because I feel it goes with the leaves in the card a lot. I know these weren't planned to go together, but boy, I think the stamp set and the paper just actually go brilliantly together. Oh, look, that is cut wrong. Well, we're going to go ahead with it anyway. That is odd. Let's put that aside. Let's see if I have a different piece. Wow. I think they're all... They're all cut bad. Okay, well, the correct stuff will be at the end. How about that? Sorry about that. But you still get the same idea. Yes, then we'll set that aside. And so we're going to use a whole bunch of Stampin' Blends today. Put my cap on my glue so I don't leave glue all over. Whole bunch of Stampin' Blends. And if you've never played with these are alcohol-based markers, which are fantastic for blending and making beautiful, like, well, they don't look like paint really because you don't get the brush strokes or anything, but beautiful, smooth, blended images. So I'm going to stamp this one first. And whenever you use Stampin' Blends, excuse me, or any alcohol-based like Copics, you want to stamp first with Memento ink. It is a dye-based ink instead of a water-based ink. And so you want to use the Memento ink and ink that bad boy up. Actually, this is such a big one. I would almost do that. doesn't look right. I'm having one of those days. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and ink this up, and we want, so those leaves are in the corner and like it's peeling back the corner. And with Memento ink, if you remember, set aside to dry. Now we have our background, and I'm going to move this piece off. And we have some leaves to stamp. I think this is this a distinctive? It might actually be a distinctive stamp set. So one of the things that I always like to do is make sure I kind of go off my paper, gives it that more realistic look. And the rule of odds, how many did I stamp here? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're just trying to fill in that corner. We are not quite done with the ink. Let me put that aside. We have our greeting to stamp. And then we can set this aside and let it dry while we get our blends ready. So I'm going to set those aside, and I can get the ink out of here before I get more inky. And we'll set this one aside to dry since this one has been drying longer. And I'm using the silicone pad that we have because the blends do go through, so you want to protect your surface. And let's get started. So on this one I used grays. Now there is no right or wrong way to use your blends. There is no right or wrong way. I will show you multiple ways. So one thing I'm going to do right now is I want to get the gray shading is, and it's already kind of shaded. You could just color it in with the gray and be done. But we'll give it a little more depth by just a thin line of this dark. This is dark smoky slate. And so all our Stampin' Blends, I believe they're $9.95 for 2, come with a light and dark image. And then I'm going to go in there with the light, and you can see how you are literally moving that pigment around on the paper. Don't want to color her hand. And you can see with a little, you are literally, I'm not covering it up, I'm literally moving that pigment around. And maybe I'll go back in. With a little bit more of the dark. You see how it takes a few minutes to dry, not long, and these actually have a very pleasant smell. Our first ones were kind of stinky, and we went back and reformulated them. So we'll let that dry up. And am I done with my gray? I am done with my gray. So we'll put those aside because I have, as you can see, a lot of colors. The other thing we have is this color lifter, which literally, it's like an eraser kind of. And I can lift that. You see how light it goes? That's okay. We'll leave that just to show you. Color lifter. And we want to color her hair. So I've got light and dark soft suede. And I will go in and put some dark. I'm actually just going to follow the shading of the stamped image. And a little bit there. But we'll, and then I'll go in with the light. If I get this card done in time, it'll be a miracle. It's not that the coloring is that hard, but you also, that's the other thing is, I should say, you need to work in a small area at a time because it does dry in once. Oops, I colored her eye. That's okay. Her hair is kind of drooping in her eyes. Once the ink kind of sets, you can move it around a little bit, but it's not as easy. Actually, I went in with the light. Now I'm going in with the dark. That's okay. We can fix that. This is good. This is actually good. I mixed that up. Because then I can go in with the color lifter and you can see the gray piece of paper or whatever that's supposed to be is drying up. And I'm just going to lift a little bit of her hair, maybe on top, the light's shining there, maybe a little bit here. Yeah, along that swoop, a little bit of her bangs. And we'll let that dry up and see what it looks like. So that wasn't a bad mistake. Next I brought in about 50 shades of purple. I brought in light and dark Highland Heather and light and dark Purple Posy. Purple Posy is one of our in colors. The ink pad they had constant formulation problems with, so they retired it. But we still have the Purple Posy marker, which you can use to stamp with, and we have Purple Posy Stampin Blends. You don't want to use those on your stamps, but if you've ever done marker coloring, you can use your markers as an ink pad. You just color it in and then stamp. You might have to, as you can hear, huff a little bit on it, but that is that's another way we can get the posy color. Okay, so actually I'm going to go in. I'm looking at my clock going, I'm not going to finish in time. It is only a coffee break. We'll go in with, this is light Calypso Coral, and make those little hearts. We're just gonna simply color those in. I'm done with that one. How's she drying up? Okay. And I think I'm going to be a radical here, and I'm going to use the dark Highland Heather and the light Purple Posy and put the light of the Highland Heather and the dark of the Purple Posy aside for great big contrast. See, again, you don't have to use the same colors, the light and darks together. There are lots of ways to play with these. And I really would like to see more people playing with them because they are fun. Oh my goodness, are they fun. Okay, don't think that that's junky coloring. Yeah. That's Purple Posy. Wow. Looks pink in this light. That looks pink. That's okay. It'll blend out beautifully. You see that? Wow. Yeah, I guess it is pink over there. I'll leave her wings alone. I colored them in the original one. Probably a late night goof, not that it matters. I think I'm done with these. I think we're gonna let her hair go. Oh, skin tone. That was the other reason we needed. My clock is, stop going forward. So I have Petal Pink or one of our ivory markers. We do have some skin tone. Actually, I don't even call them skin tone. They're just neutrals. And I'm just going to go over, just to save some time, I'm just going to go over this. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that today. And then I'll go take the Petal Pink, kind of touch up her nose a little bit. Maybe give a little bit of color to her cheeks, little blush to her mouth. Give her a little dimension, it'll probably dry up great. Now, for our leaves, and I have a light mint macaron, a dark mint macaron, a light mossy meadow, and a dark mossy meadow. And I think what I ended up doing to give the beautiful color here, just realized, yes, I am on camera. I hope I've mostly been on camera. Is I used the dark mossy and the mint. So I'm just going to go in here and again, following the shading of the leaves. And I also want to show you, see how it bleeds through? So yeah, you want to make sure your surface is well protected underneath. And I'm just going to use the normal mint. I've used this combo before for leaves. I don't know, I just think I like it. And there we go. Again, this is not my neatest coloring job. I'm just more focused on, if I go outside the lines, I can always go in with the color lifter and it will lift some of that. But just see how beautiful that's going to dry up. Okay, and then we need to do this one real fast. And you notice with the dark, I just kind of dab some, it's like putting a little bit of paint on the palette. And then I come in and it just kind of move it around and you get that great whoops. Oh well. Great shading. Okay, I think we're gonna call it good because I've already gone over my time just a tiny bit and I want to finish up the card. So yeah, you can see how it bleeds. And position that on your interior, it's not really your interior layer, but, and I don't know how that got cut wrong. Oops. And layer that on the purple posy. And we're almost done. Sorry I went over a tiny bit on our coffee break. Always worth it. Always worth it. And so I'm going to attach this with dimensionals. So one way to do that to make sure they don't get visible is to put some down at the edge, because you know that, and then put some down at your other edge. That's 4 dimensionals. That's more than enough to hold this. Wow. And I want it centered. That's pretty good. And holding a bunch of dimensional backings. Okay, they're just gonna go on the floor. I have to sweep anyway. How many else do that? And then I want to add some rhinestones, just to kind of, for the twinkly stars. Boy, that bad boy went flying. And then this one, I kind of went with a ribbon is optional. I really couldn't, it would go pretty with it, but I just couldn't quite figure out where to put it, which is, you know, needsaribbon.com. I don't know. I'll put it in the supply list so you know, but just not feeling it too much, you know? Just not. Oops. Maybe like that. Yeah, it doesn't really add anything. It doesn't really take anything away. It's just kind of there. So there is our Stampin' Blends New Wonder card. And I hope you've had fun today. And let me know if you play with the blends and what you come up with. Thank you. Find me at needsaribbon.com.